Welcome to the Storj Institute interview series, where we explore diverse people and projects in the Web3 space. In today's episode, we interview Musa Ogunyemi.
So we are working on our Storj Institute interview series, and we are blessed to have Musa Ogunyemi with us, who is a PhD dissertation student who is working in the decentralized space. And he's going to give us a rundown of all the exciting things that he's working on, and give a little introduction to yourself, Musa, and tell us a bit about the most exciting project you're working on right now, which obviously is your dissertation.
Thank you very much, Christine. So my name is Musa Ogunyemi. I am presently working on my dissertation, and my dissertation is in the area of decentralization, specifically blockchain, confidentiality, enforcing confidentiality on blockchain, and transaction monitoring of that of confidential data using machine learning. So that's about what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're setting yourself up to be hunted by some of the major companies in the blockchain space, because obviously confidentiality and our trustless system is at the foundation of what we're creating in our decentralized space. What inspired you to get involved in Web3 and blockchain?
Okay, so I'm from Nigeria. There's a problem with land and administration in Nigeria. People go through a lot of hoops to get records for their land, to show ownership of the land, because of some kind of bureaucracy and some kind of traditional issues. Land is a very people attach so much importance to land, and because it's very hard to get ownership of land, it became like an issue to me while I was in Nigeria, because people would want to use their land, to get mortgages, to get money to loans and, for stuff. But it was really hard to actually identify who owns the land. And so when I started my dissertation here, one of the questions I asked myself is, how do I use this dissertation to, benefit the society? What benefit can I bring to the society, and how do I do it? And I was talking to my dissertation chair, and he spoke about smart contracts. And I was like, that was interesting. So I told him about the problem I envisaged in Nigeria. And I was like, I was looking at solving this problem. So, and he said smart contract could be a way to actually see this, is a lens to actually look at how to solve this problem. So I researched on smart contract. I was like, this is really interesting. How does it work? How does it start? And then that was what got me into blockchain. I would say what motivated me was trying to solve the issue of ownership and administration of land in Nigeria, because it could unlock a lot of potentials in terms of generating revenue for people, allowing some kind of progression in life. And so I would say that was what drove me into blockchain. But I've evolved, and I'm still going to solve that problem, but I'm looking at solving more of the technical problems now, and then eventually I'll go back to that, because I think that's a very valuable problem to solve. Once the issue of land administration can be solved, I think a lot of economic movement would happen back home.
Yes. Well, it sounds like you're definitely of the belief that smart contracts are probably really the future of finance and technology, in that it is creating this trustless system that can be easily monitored, tracked, and is open source.
Yes.
Because
you don't need a middleman. One of the bureaucracies like I was saying back home where I'm from, is that there are layers of bureaucracy. And with smart contracts, when these things are automated and the automation gives validity and the validity leads to, speed, then administration will become easy. And, you can now move ownership and asset. The speed of moving the owners or changing who owns what, or selling asset becomes faster. And that improves the economic prosperity of the people.
Yeah, improves it immediately, which it works out well for everybody, all parties concerned. As you've been in the Web3 blockchain space.
Yeah.
It's moved so quickly, evolved so fast, but
Mm.
I feel like it, is one of the spaces where it's given people of color, especially people internationally who have been locked out of some of the tech spaces, the opportunity to really create something from scratch and really make a name for themselves. So as
Mhm.
somebody who's started to work, especially in this space of having your degree in a blockchain technology space, have you experienced any challenges? What challenges, have you faced? Do you feel like the blockchain space is giving you maybe opportunity that other spaces might not?
For sure. Blockchain does not, you see, one of the reasons for blockchain is to promote financial inclusion
Mm-hmm.
so that people that you don't need anybody to get into blockchain. You don't need some kind of bureaucracy to get into blockchain. You don't need any government to, you know, get you onboarded into blockchain. You only need to have idea and be passionate about it. So blockchain, I would say, is 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 not just revolutionary. It creates opportunity. The opportunity that it creates is so novel and so, I mean, it's all encompassing. You as a black person or as a white person, or you don't want, you can get into blockchain without any, any hindrance. But I mean, that's the problem right now. I shouldn't use any hindrance because government is trying to regulate and there might be some form of hindrance. But generally, you can get into blockchain regardless of color easily compared to the prior internet 2.0, right? Web 2.0, you still need some kind, there are incumbent factors there that would deter you from getting into it. But
Mm-hmm.
in Web3, getting on board is easier, is open, it's transparent, it's trustless. There's no government entity stopping you from getting into it. You need to have an idea and be passionate about it. And the sky is the limit.
So because the options are much more easily accessible, what do you think that people in the Web3 industry can do to better support and promote diversity and inclusion? Because still we go to these conferences, we're few and far between, when we see each other at the conference. So it's, what do you think could be done? What are you maybe doing personally to help onboard and bring other people of color into the space?
So one is to find a good use case. So I'll give you an example. If you look at the black community here, most of us are into, art. We are into music. We are into, we are into a lot of, you know, I'll say acting, entertainment. Let me use the, entertainment. So if I can personally show the value or the value proposition of blockchain in the entertainment industry, which is predominantly black, or I mean, people of color, or go to the people of color and show, okay, you don't need an agent. You don't need an agent to sell your record. You don't need a label. You can actually upload this stuff on a blockchain and you can use it as NFT and people can
Mhm.
see your artwork as NFT and you don't need to, look for people to buy your art. You can actually put it on this website and see, and we can, like, drive traffic and people see what you're doing without actually having to pay any middleman. I think that would help, spread the gospel of, I mean, the ethos of blockchain or the benefit of blockchain, and with that, more people would see the value and get into
Yeah.
it. So I would say one very key value is, or one very um, key driver would be to show people the use case on
Yeah.
how blockchain can be of benefit to them. I just used one example here, entertainment, and how you can remove that layer of intermediary and allow the artist or the singer or the actor have more control over their reality. And with that, I think people get would see more benefit. And when we go to these conferences, we'll see more people like you and I, and then the sky will be our limit. So I think use case and the benefit of blockchain, or aligning the use case and the benefit of and the benefit of blockchain, and showing that to people would drive the adoption of blockchain in the underrepresented community like you and I have.
Yeah. You talked about how your inspiration for your dissertation was to help, make a positive change.
Mhm.
Um, what do you hope that your impact, even beyond your dissertation, will be through your work in Web3 and blockchain?
Okay, so I mean, I have identified that blockchain as it is right now, data on it is not private. And I mean, it appears, I mean, one of the selling points is that it's anonymous, but anonymity is a myth. you know, you can actually use some AI. I'm sure a lot of people know about AI these days, that GPT and stuff. You can actually use other forms of AI technique or machine learning technique to actually do a reverse engineering and understand the pattern technique and the patterns of transaction to actually know who is behind what transaction. And
Mm-hmm.
if the privacy of an individual is compromised, you can actually, then all of the transaction is not secured. And when transactions are not secured, you lose money. So I have identified that this is a very pertinent problem in the blockchain space, and to solve it would add more value beyond the land issue I'm trying to solve, which is equally a very pertinent issue. But a broader issue is try to understand how to enforce confidentiality, because as it is right now, there are other regulation, privacy regulation that are not that the blockchain transaction is not in conformity with. And in order for adoption to be, in order for us to gain adoption in the space, we need to adhere to some regulations. So I think part of it, or part of my dissertation would solve this problem in terms of broader impact. I think it will have a broader impact on the society and enable blockchain to be used more for good than for bad.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, it's creating a space for, for equity, for equal access, for, people feeling like they, have ownership without having to, feel like they're being compromised or taken advantage of by the corporations, which I
Yeah.
think is, the major space for it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and again, that leads perfectly into just what's your vision for the future of how blockchain is going to contribute to a more just and equitable society. I mean, it's, giving people that sense of ownership and access and control certainly is a major play in that. But, where do you see that going?
Oh, I feel like blockchain is going to revolutionize. I'm not just saying this because I'm in the space. Well, if you really look at if you really look at the functionalities of the technology Web3 and the blockchain that enables Web3, if you look at how it works, you would see that the potentials, not just the potentials, now the future value of, I mean, I shouldn't even use future. It's existing right now. It's just for us to harness it. Is that it's going to bring about the ability of people to own a lot of their assets.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really look at what we define as assets, is it, physical asset or IP asset or, however you want to define asset, is going to enable us own our assets, control our assets, and make more money. If that's what drives some people, yeah, they will make more money. And this technology would, going forward, I mean, one of the from the feedback I've gotten from the conferences I've gone to is that, you need to be able to use blockchain without actually knowing that you're using blockchain. And one of the advantages of it removes that aura of, oh, it's new and it's technical. Once you can sign in and do things easy, I think it will enable more people to come in. And once more people come in and they use it without knowing they are using it, and it gives them power to control their assets, then I can tell you the future is bright, and and we'll have more control over how we, I would say, how we control our assets, who controls our asset, how our asset is being used. There'll be more equity, there'll be more justice, and the sky will be the limit. It will essentially get to a more just society. That's
Yeah.
what I say. Yeah. In
Well,
terms of
I love that because it's, part of the Storj Institute mission is to make sure that we push for diversity and inclusion in the Web3 space, and allowing people at least access to the knowledge, the education to be able to implement the technology that literally is readily available at our fingertips. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a space that where, you know, YouTube University legitimately can prepare you, you know, for a coding position, or give you the foundation to at least have access to free information where people can feel like they're a part of this emerging technology and able to implement it as quickly as they can without having to enroll in, you know, a degree program that ultimately, you know,
You don't
puts
need
them into student loan debt, or, you know, has, you know, things that, and, you know, especially as a student, I mean, as a graduate student, we know about student loan debt. So
Right.
it's, the irony is that our
Yeah.
ability to use the technology is not granted to us based on financial access to a university institution or anything else.
I'll add this. Just to buttress what you're saying, there's a lot of opportunities in this space. You know, the Web two in the Web two space, there are over, I think, 30 million, or maybe about significant amount of software coders. But in the Web3 space, is the amount of coders are really low and they get paid really high, you know? So it's an advantage. And, you know, like you rightly said, you don't need to go to any four walls of university to actually learn. Some of the things I've learned, I've actually Googled on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
more people should take advantage, and it's free, right?
exactly.
I'm going to start, I mean, at some I will contribute to it as well. Whatever I know, I'm going to make sure I record it on YouTube and share with everybody at no cost.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's the way to pay it forward. And I think that's the way we raise, you know, we raise the average up. We
Yeah.
allow everyone else to have access to, you know, our insights and our knowledge and, you know, what we've learned from the space.
Yeah.
Well, Musa, I know that you're going to be making big waves in the blockchain space in the future, and I'm really looking forward to how companies will choose to implement your research. And I think, you know, what you're doing is definitely going to pave the way to open up for a lot more access for people, and a lot more application, frankly. And that's what we need. Like you said, the use case is the entrance
Oh
ticket.
my God. Yeah. We creating a use case and people seeing the benefit of the use case would drive more adoption, especially in the underserved community. And
Yeah.
that would help. That would not only, that would empower us. That would give us the ability to control our assets. We would be the owners. We will not be we will not just be the owners of our asset figuratively. We would actually literally be the owners of our asset, and we can like manage it how we deem fit, which is very powerful. It's very powerful.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. We really appreciate it. I know our Storj Institute community will be very happy to follow your work and follow your research. And I'll make sure I'll put some of the info to follow you and tag you into the show notes as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.